Hey YouTube, this is VidHead85. I'm doing this video outside because I have to go somewhere in a few minutes. But I wanted to talk a little bit today about patriotism and how people believe that if you're patriotic, then it should be I don't know, like you should follow your country in an unquestioning way, which I feel is crazy because we wouldn't be the country that we are if we just blindly followed the leadership. So I just want to delve into it a little bit. I have it written down, and in fact I think I'll post it up as a blog post or something like that on my Spencer Hamilton blog. So if you normally don't watch YouTube videos but you are a person that likes to read blogs, then I'll start I'll start transcribing some of my videos as transcribing some of my videos so that people can read them. So simply, this is I went to a meeting for Amy Hope Witriol, a Democratic candidate for NY62. She's opposing George Maziarz, and I was taken aback by a man who believed that because we were gay, we weren't patriotic. I went there with Grandma Kitty, and she literally ran up one side of him, and down the other. And at first, I thought that he was looking at me because it was an awkward situation, and he was looking at me as if I was going to save him from her. But that was not the case. I was thinking like, don't look at me. I'm not going to save you. You deserve this. And yet, I found out that the main reason that he was looking at me was because I'm black and a Democrat, and these are mostly white men and women, and I was the only one of the few black people there. And he asked if we said the Pledge of Allegiance, if we, stood up and said the pledge and everything. And Grandma Kitty said, just because I'm gay doesn't mean I'm not patriotic. So I love my country, yes, but I won't coddle it when it comes to giving away money for years to companies that claims there is no jobs, but then again, they don't give any money to the government, and they have get all this money back. They are the Freddie freeloaders. So it comes to one question: can I be patriotic and say what's wrong with my country? Why is it that because I'm gay, I can't believe in God or love my country and tell the people that the rich ones are the ones making us poor, as well as not as financial illiteracy? I'm sorry, but let me charge the poor first here. Don't be buying an Escalade when you live with your mama. Don't be telling me you're a boss and you're hitting on me while you're on the bus. Don't be telling me that you got paper when in fact you're working at McDonald's. I'm sorry, but if you're securing yourself, go ahead and do what a boss does, okay? Make moves that make money, okay? Bosses also catalog their funds so they can see what they're spending, and they don't spend too much on unnecessary things like Jordans when they should be paying child support, unless they're being garnished, of course. They don't have to take and also they don't have their children looking raggedy while they're dressed in Chanel. That is another thing that I'm really pissed off about. The fact is, they take care of business and do it efficiently. They do what is necessary and make tough decisions, and sometimes they have to go without. Now, this country started off a great country because we had rational leaders that were willing to take a stand. They had firm convictions that the rich should pay more to benefit society, and they shouldn't look down on someone except to lift them up. We become a foolish nation of imbeciles who depend on someone else to tell us what to think. Now, I'm pretty sure that William Penn, James Madison, and Thomas Jefferson would be embarrassed to be founding fathers of a country where their children prize a political win over the people. They would have taken a paddle to the backside of Alito, Thomas, Scalia, Kennedy, and Roberts for opening our elections to corporations that would rather see us poor and disenfranchised. And it was the same in their day too. It was the same in their day too, at least what corporations were willing to do. But they held firm against allowing corporations to have such a magnitude of power that they do today. In fact, Montana, ballot initiatives had to be placed in Montana law because of corruption. If they had seen the same thing being used to disenfranchise a minority group of people, they would have said WTF, because they would be so exasperated with the way that people are so sectioned off in the pursuit of their own personal political agendas instead of bettering the American people. We had people that realized that while religion played a part in our lives as Americans and our values, they don't let it reign supreme because they saw what happens when a theocracy is allowed to rule. Like, let's point to something with the AIDS crisis. Monies weren't being appropriated because it was not in their value to affirm gay people, though people were dying in droves, and simply because they didn't believe in that the gays were living according to the will of God as they saw it, they didn't deserve to have health care. I believe that the founding fathers had much more compassion in that, and they might not have been perfect, but they were rational leaders who knew who they were serving and not robbing and pillaging people the way that those who go to DC now do. I find it offensive to say that we should drug test people for welfare benefits and cut welfare when we spend more money subsidizing welfare benefits for corporations. How can people say that giving money to businesses will create jobs and stimulate the economy when it is the people who have money to spend who will spend it and stimulate the economy? When austerity cuts are placed in budgets and governors veto items like domestic shelters, domestic violence shelters, and things like rape prevention, like Governor of South Carolina did, saying each of these line items attempts to serve a portion of our population for which we extend sympathy and encouragement, but nevertheless it is only a small portion of South Carolina's chronically ill or abused. Overall, these special add-on lines distract from the border agency's broader mission of protecting South Carolina's public health. So in other words, they're saying to a domestic violence victim, oh, go ahead, well, we encourage you, but won't do anything to arrest their attacker, give them shelter. What about their children? So it's misguided to say in the least. But then again, this shows that the Republican governors had no respect or care for the people that they claim to represent. How can you cut social programs when people are using it as a last resort and their lifeline? How can you be so brazen, and how can you do that to people and stand idly by when Newt Gingrich says he'll be the paycheck president but does not outline an economic policy for those who need to get a job? So now also Romney's economic policies only tax those of us on the bottom while exempting the top 1% from what, like a $250,000 tax cut for 5 years. So of course I say tax the rich. Now I'm not begrudging the rich, but I'm saying this: they make more money. It is obvious that they can give more money. We could use that to expand Medicaid, help failing schools succeed, and also we need to get rid of for-profit jails. The way that they know how many jails to build is how many failing schools are in the area. Not a surprise. We need to freeze congressional pay, hike the corporate tax rate, close the tax loopholes, and force Congress to buy their retirement plan like everybody else can. Period. I don't see anybody getting thousands of dollars a month for life as their retirement plan. We used to stand on social equality, and though it has been a slow road, it has always leaned toward justice. I simply can't stand a country that will run roughshod over its poor and blame us for the problems that we did not create. I did not create a tax code that disfavors me. I did not create 2 wars that I'm currently now paying for. And another question is, how much money do corporations or companies need before they'll actually create a job? We had, what, 10 years, 12 years of these corporate tax cuts, and yet I'm not seeing one single job created. In fact, they have paid no taxes and cut so many jobs that I'm losing track. One man, one vote. We say one man, one vote, but then again, we're passing voter ID laws that disenfranchise that very notion. And in fact, I remember seeing a report that said somebody decided, hey, everybody shouldn't be able to vote. Why? Because they're voting for people who will actually stand up and put the people first in their campaigns and actually get to Washington and do what they said they're going to do. So if you ask me, America's not a free country. Where is the free countries? Canada, Brazil, Europe, I don't know, maybe parts of Asia, I don't know, Australia, what is it? Most of those countries have socialized healthcare, and it has not broken and bankrupted that country. So yet we're going to sit here and say that somehow America's going to be bankrupt after we've seen socialized medicine in all of these countries and they haven't bankrupted them. So of course the Republican answer is to privatize everything, and yet they have not given us any kind of alternate health care that will replace Obamacare once, quote, they repeal it. So simply, you know, they might have the thought to not only privatize it, but everybody should have to pay for their own health care because that's the only, because, I don't know, their issues are their own damn fault. In fact, I talked with somebody, my ex, who said that everybody should pay for their own health care because it's their own damn fault. And then I pointed out, hey, you've been in how many rehabs, and I had to pay for the beds you slept in, I had to pay for the linens, I had to pay for the food you ate, I had to pay for the Suboxone treatment, I had to pay for every single thing that you took advantage of, which was in your case for free comparatively, but yet I should have to be forced to pay for my own health care when I paid for yours. So that's a small part of what's really wrong. They have not yet given anything. The Republicans in the House have not given anything to substitute for Obamacare, but they want to privatize everything to where basically it'll be a replica of America without the social programs that were put in place when companies don't do the right thing. So now, that's the thinking that many people feel, and we fall for it, and then we wonder, where are the jobs? How many jobs bills have the House passed to the Senate? I'd love to see the bill numbers, and I'd love to see what they do, but it may seem like I'm Republican bashing all this time, but I will tell you this. Democrats, you need to get your stuff together. Why? Because they're winning. They're winning all the time because they know how to master the language and get it out there. So we need to do the same. We need to call it out and grow a spine and stop working in a bipartisan manner when the other party won't work with us. So do I love my country? Yes. My patriotism is not fair weather. I love Obama, but I hate some of the things that he's done. I will admit that he is the best candidate for the job, and he inherited a mess from the fiscal conservatives that put us in this mess in the first place. The liberal spender left, what, a $500 billion surplus, but yet the fiscal conservative put us, what, trillions and trillions of dollars in debt. And also, I would say that not only do I support, say that, but he's doing everything that he possibly can. And when President Obama institutes anything that costs us money, they pounce all over him like a vulture to a dead carcass. We need more women and more people who the founding fathers would have their seal of approval on. We need to get money out of politics. Prisons gotta stop being for profit. And that's another thing that I would like to see, as well as condoms in prison, as well as STD testing. Now, I don't want to make it mandatory, but then again, make it mandatory every so often, so that we can help curb the STDs and HIV in prison. Because if we really want to curb that, that's a place that we need to do. And of course, nobody cares about prisoners until, you know, every 10 years when redistricting happens. Now, I leave you with that simply because I'm sick and tired of hearing people talk about how liberals hate America. But I have not seen liberals severely limiting people's personal freedoms and saying, well, but if it's a religious conviction, then you can go ahead and have that free spread. So I charge that the conservatives hate America, and they don't really give a damn about anybody's life other than their own. Freedom of religion for them means the freedom of their religion. So our government now is like Fox News paying rich people to tell them that the poor people are the problem. So I say, like I said, financial literacy, but we need to reform that tax code. I want a government that will reward people for doing right and punish those who are really guilty. Isn't that what government is supposed to do in the first place? YouTube, I'll see you later.